Okay, Bismillah. Okay, folks, welcome back. I'm here with my student. We're looking at Maths Watch Grade D questions, clip 56, addition and subtraction of fractions. We're just going to be focusing on the first part of this here. Okay, so we are doing and subtracting fractions. Let's have a look at the first two questions. Now, when we add and subtract fractions, let's go through some of the basics. So this first question is very good. Question 1a. Let's have a look at that. When we are adding or subtracting fractions, we need to make sure that these bottom numbers, which are called the denominators, are both the same. So 7s and 7s, that's good. We never ever add or minus the bottom numbers. Write that down. We never ever add or subtract the bottom numbers of a fraction when we're doing adding and subtraction fractions. Okay? As long as the bottom numbers are the same, that is what the answer will be in terms of. So we're adding 1/7, add 3 7s, which gives us a total of how many 7s? That's 1/7 add 3 7, that will give us 4 7s. So the bottom numbers stay the same because that's what we're talking in. And the example I always give my students is this. I have one, let's call the 7th chairs. So 1 chair add 3 chairs gives us 4 chairs. So the bottom word doesn't change because that is the units in which we are talking in. Yeah, so you're going to call that a book. 1 book add 3 books equals 4 books. So the book doesn't change. We're talking in terms of books. So here we're talking in terms of 7ths. So the bottom number stays the same. But it's got to be the same in the first place. These numbers must be the same before we can start adding. That's the very basic type of fraction. So I want you to have a go at question B. For me, please. Recording. Now, so the answer is 1B, 4 9ths at 1 9th. Students said it's 5 9ths. Lovely answer. We are now looking at question 2a. So we have now 1/5. Okay, we had 1/5. Hold on a second. Okay. We have. Oh, press the button. Okay. 1/5 at 3/4. Okay, 1/5 at 3/4. That's the next question. Now, if you look at this particular question, the bottom numbers are not the same. Just give me one moment while I do some bit of. Let's get rid of this question number from here. And space here in a bit. Okay, lovely question. Alright, let's go back to some colors. Now, the key part of this question here is, we said previously, when the bottom numbers are the same, we add or minus the top numbers. Now the bottom numbers are not the same, so what should we do? The bottom numbers need to be the same. So if they're not the same, we need to make them the same. So we need to make the 5 and the 4 into one number which are the same. Now, can the 5 become a 4? Can the 4 become a 5? No. 4 can't become a 5. I mean, at the moment, the 5 is now a multiple of 4, 4 is now a multiple of 5. So you can't make one number into the other at the moment easily. You can make them a difficulty, not easily. So we have to make 5 and 4 the same. So we look for the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4. The smallest number that contains the 5 and the 4. If you look at the 5 times table and the 4 times table, the smallest number which is the 5 times table and the 4 times tables match is 20. Okay. 5 and 4. Okay, the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4 is 20. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay. And the way I teach, the easier way of doing that is what we do to make 5 and the 4 into the same number. We get the 4 and we multiply it by the 5. We get the 5 and we multiply by 4. So you multiply each denominator, oops, you multiply each denominator by the opposite denominator. Okay. So this 5 times by 4, yeah? Now, in mathematics, that's not enough. What we do to the bottom, we must do to the top to keep the fraction balanced. What we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. So what we're doing here is called equivalent fractions. We are making these fractions equivalent. Okay? So now if you multiply that, let's see what we get in the next line then. So 4 times by 1 is 4. 4 times by 5 is 20. 3 times by 5 on the top is 15. 4 times by 5 is 20. So what we've done now, we've changed fifths into 20s and we've changed quarters into 20ths. Now, if we now look at the bottom numbers are now, they are the same. And that is the key to adding and minusing fractions. You must get the denominators to be the same. So fifths have now become 20ths, quarters have now become 20ths, and now we're in a happy state. Now we are in a situation where we can add. And what do we do when we add? Do we add the bottom numbers? We never add the bottom numbers. So the 20 gets copied across because we're talking in terms of 20ths. I got 4 20ths, add 15 20ths. So what do we do with the top numbers? What do we do with top numbers? We add the top numbers. So 4 add the 15, which gives us 19 over 20. And that is the final answer. 19 over 20. Take some space. You take both halves of the page. Take both halves of the page. Make it nice and big and clear. Use different colors if you can. We have used different colors, show the multiplying things. If not, that's no problem. Okay. Now, what kind of answer is 19 over 20? It is called a proper fraction. The top number is small, the bottom number is bigger. Okay, as long as the top number is smaller than the bottom number, it is a proper fraction. If the top number is bigger, it's called an improper fraction. We need to convert that fraction back into a mixed fraction. We'll do one of those as well. That's not a problem. I'll be happy with this. Now, okay, just as a quick, if we were to do this as a minus question, what would be the difference? Rather than having a plus here, you'd have a minus. And it's exactly the same technique. So minusing fraction questions and adding fraction questions are identical. There's no difference in technique. Here at the end we add, and there at the end you would minus. Here at the end we add, there you minus. The method is exactly the same for addition and subtraction. Multiplication, division, totally different method altogether. We don't use this technique. Okay? So this method is particular for addition and subtraction. Right. Are we happy with that question? That was question number, what was it? That was question 2A. Okay. I want to pick a question now that we're going to go into mixed fractions. Alright? And then we'll do some mixed fraction questions as well. Okay? So we've got quite a few examples left to do yet. But before we do that, I'm going to give you some questions like this style for you to try. So I want you to try for me question D. 2D is your question now while I pause the video. So classwork is 2D, which is over here. Okay? So we have 5/8 plus 3/4. Okay, here comes our next question. We have 5/8 plus 3/4, which is question 3C. Then look at how we deal with answers which are top heavy. Okay? Now, first of all, in this type of question, we need to do less work. The idea is to make the bottom numbers the same. Now, can the 8 become a 4? We can, but by dividing, that become messy. We do 5 divided by 2. Yeah? It's 2.5. We get decimals. Can the 4 become an 8? The 4 can be accommodated very easily by simply timesing by 2. Because remember, the intention is for us to get the bottom numbers the same. So we try to make one number into the other number by using equivalence techniques. So rather than me saying every question, this number times by that number times by this number, you don't need to do that. You do that when you need to, when you have to. In this particular question, the 4 can very easily, very readily become what can it become? An 8. And how do we do that? By multiplying by 2. So let's work that out now. So let's copy it down. So we have 5 8 gets copied down. And we add to that. We have 3 times by 2 will give you 6 on the top. 4 times by 2 will give you 8 on the bottom. Now let's have a look which situation we are in. We are in that nice situation where the bottom numbers are the same. As long as the bottom numbers are the same, we can add the question. So let's copy the 8 in the bottom. So we have 5 add 6 on the top. We add the top numbers. So 5 add 6. What's 5 add 6? 11. And the 8 in the bottom, 8 gets copied across because we're talking in terms of 8. We have 11 over 8. Now we look at this fraction. We look at this fraction here and we say, we look at it. Have we finished the question? And the question is not finished. So let's have a look at 11 eighths over here. Oh, pink. Alright, let's get rid of that wonky one. And let's go back. That's supposed to be 11 over 8. Again, I don't know why sometimes this thing doesn't write properly. Never mind. So what does 11 over 8 mean? It means 11. Oh, let's clear a bit wrong there. Okay, let's go back. It means 11 divided by 11 divided by 8. What is 11 divided by 8? The answer is 1, remainder 3 at the moment. Now this is how we set up our question. We need some little boxes. Okay, this is the boxes in green. Okay, now let's get back to our brush. Now this whole number here, so we got 1 remainder 3 as our rough answer. That one goes where? Into the box at the front. So we have our whole number answer. 1 goes here. Next, we have our remainder. The remainder 3 goes where? It goes in this top box. Okay, next. Okay, let's pick a color we haven't used yet. Yeah. Next, the bottom number from the fraction, the 11 eighths. Where does that go? At the bottom. So 11 divided by 8 is 1 remainder 3. The 1 goes at the front. The remainder goes on the top. And the original bottom number goes on the... So everything has a place to go to. That's how we change a top-heavy fraction into a mixed fraction once we got our rough answer. So every number, every digit has its own particular position in order to be converted successfully from this into this. Okay, have you got that down? So the answer should be 1 3/8 for that question. And that's the end of that question. Okay, now what I'd like you to do now for me, please, can you do for me question 3D? That's your classwork question now, please, while I pause the video. Okay, now in this next part of the video, what we're going to be doing with my student here is looking at how we add mixed fractions and how we subtract mixed fractions. Okay, so we have 2 1/4, add 1 3/4. Okay, sorry, not 2 1/4, 2 1/2. Pardon me. Remember that. Good. 2 1/2 add 1 3/4. Okay, we can do this in different methods. We can add the whole number first, then the fractional numbers afterwards, and then combine the answer together at the end. But then what happens when we do minusing, we can come up into a bit of a cropper when we don't have enough fractions to minus each other. So one method that we can learn here that we can use for addition and for subtraction is a consistent method. You just learn one method is change all the fractions into top heavy and then add and then take away, for example. So we're going to use that technique now. It's not the only technique. I'm not saying it's the best technique, but it's one of the ones which I've used and has been successful. Okay, your teacher might come up with some other technique of doing it. Okay, so this is the technique that I've used in the last 20 plus years. So we do 2 times by 2, so times, and what do we do on top? This is how we change mixed fraction. This is called a mixed fraction, whole number and fraction, into top heavy. So are we ready? Right. So look over here. So we have 2 times by 2 add 1. So we have 2 times by 2 add 1 over 2. Here we got 4 times by 1 add 3. 4 times by 1 add 3 over 4. Yeah? So that gives us, what's 2 times by 2 add 1? 5. So that gives you 5 over 2 add 7 over 4. Okay? So now we've converted the mixed fractions into top heavy. So these look familiar or similar to the fractions we did earlier in this video. Now we need to make the bottom numbers the same. So I'm going to choose the 2. I'm going to make the 2 into a 4 by doubling the bottom. If I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So that gives us what altogether? 10 on the top over 4. Add 7 over 4. 10. Okay, now what do we do with this now? We do the top numbers. Add them. So what's 10 add 7? 17. What do we do with the bottom numbers? Do we add them? No. So copy it down. So we got 17 quarters. So what does 17 quarters means? It means 17 divided by 4. How many 4s go into 17? And the answer is 4, remainder 1. And we copy the bottom number across. Okay, so did you see that? So look at 17 divided by 4 is 4, remainder 1. Copy 4 the bottom. So what I showed you in the previous question, we don't, that's just teaching you for the first time, but once you get familiar with the method, we just write up that. So the final answer for this is 4 and 1/4. That is the final answer. That is how we do a mixed fraction addition. I think before, without any further delay, we should do a quick subtraction one to see how we deal with that as well. Okay, let's clear the page. Okay. Question 6C. Question 6C is 3 and 2/5 minus 1.5. Okay, I'm just going to quickly recap our method I mentioned to you before. Now, if we done 3 minus 1, using the whole number only, and then we done 2/5 minus a half, we'll come up with a bit of a cropper, because 2/5 is smaller than a half. So that's why we use this top heavy technique. So it avoids that problem each time. So we're going to do that top heavy technique now. We're going to start over here at the 5. We're going to go around like in a loop over here. So we are going to first of all 5 times by 3, and then we're going to add the 2 on the top. Same over here, start at the 2, go all the way around. We're going to do now 2 times by the 1, and then we're going to add the 1 on the top. So let's have a look what that looks like on the next line. So 5 times by 3 is 15, add 2 is, and the copy the 5 on the bottom. So start from here, 2 times by 1 is 2, add 1 is 3. 3/2. So we have successfully, in two quick little calculations, we have converted a mixed fraction subtraction question into a top heavy question. Now, we need to change the bottom numbers to be the same. So we have a 5 and a 2. So what do we do with the 5? We multiply it by 2. Top and bottom. What do we do with the 2? Times it by 5, top and bottom. So we have now 17 times by 2. 17 times by 2 will give us 34. 2 times by 5 will give us 10. 3 times by 5 on the top will give us 15. 2 times by 5 on the bottom will give us 10. Now, are the bottom numbers the same? These numbers are the same? They are the same. Good. If they are the same, then in our answer, that number gets transferred across to our answer. Now, what do we do with the top numbers? We minus the top numbers. So we have 32, take away 15. So the best way to do 34, take away 15. 34, take away 14. What's 34, take away 14 first of all? 34, take away 14 will give us 20. And then you take away another 1, that will give us 19. Okay. So 34 take away 15 will give us 19. So far we have 19 over 10. So let's squeeze it at the bottom. So we have 19 divided by 10. What is 19 divided by 10? 19 divided by 10 is equal to 1 whole and 9 left over the original 10. And we have finished our question. Done. Okay, so we've done additions, we've done subtraction, we've done mixed fractions, without mixed fractions, we've done cancelling the top. Okay, and also one of the things which I haven't mentioned previously, in these numbers here, if you can simplify these numbers here, this what we've done is changing top heavy to mix, simplifying is a different action altogether. So, okay, let's just do a quick little bubble here, little side thing. Say for example, you've done your question, and at the end of your question, this is the last part of the question, you get 14 over 10. So not only is it top heavy, but it can also be simplified. So what we need to do then is say 14 divided by 2 is 7, 10 divided by 2 is 5, so the answer is 7/5, which is the same as 1 and 2/5. So what I've done here, I've done the top heavy to mixed. I've done top heavy changing the mixed as well, but before that I've done cancelling. So where possible in any part of your answer, you can simplify, you should. So this here I can't simplify, I can only change from top heavy to mixed. Simplify means cancelling, dividing by common factors. Okay? Happy? Good. That's the end of this particular video. Now I'm going to start some more questions. We'll see you in the next question. Okay?